Most people spend their entire lives fighting a reality they don't realize they're creating. They blame timing, they blame circumstances, they blame opportunity, but they never question the internal state they're operating from. And when they hear the phrase quantum manifestation, they dismiss it as mystical fluff. But the truth is, it's the hidden framework that allows the top 1% to consistently engineer extraordinary outcomes. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you the psychology behind quantum manifestation and the 5 core principles the 1% use to literally bend reality to their will. This isn't about hoping or wishing. It's about operating at a level of certainty that collapses time itself. And I'm going to show you how to condition your subconscious to normalize the reality that you desire and how to turn your inner climate into a command that reality has no choice but to follow. Because quantum manifestation only sounds mystical because most people are looking at it from the wrong level. And what I'm describing is a different mental position. I call it fourth dimensional thinking. It is literally the ability to operate from the layer of identity and assumption that reality organizes around, what I would call the root cause level, instead of from the circumstances that show up afterwards, the day-to-day experiences of your life. And the people who consistently create extraordinary outcomes, they don't fight what's in front of them. They've actually learned how to think from beyond it. And there are 5 principles that govern how they do this. Principle number 1. Fourth dimensional thinkers live in 2 realities simultaneously. When you think about how you experience your day-to-day life, you're focused on the present moment. You're focused on what's going on. You have to take the kids to school, you've got to work your job, or you get into doing something in your business. Maybe you go to the gym, you're washing the dishes. This is your 3rd dimensional reality. But there's also a 4th dimensional reality. Your 4th dimensional reality is your vision. It's imagining the future that you want. And 4th dimensional thinkers have learned how to toggle between being present to their current reality and being present to their future. See, 4th dimensional thinkers are living in 2 realities at the same time. Some people would call them daydreamers, right? In many ways, they're pretenders. Children pretend that they're living in a different reality as if it's real, and so do 4th dimensional thinkers. They allow themselves to dream as if their future were right here, right now. You know, every single year, I spend a lot of time in the 4th dimension when I'm thinking about my annual event. You know, the music, the sound, the audience, what I'm going to be saying from stage, the processes that we're going to be taking people through. And I'm actually acting, as Neville Goddard would describe it, one of the great teachers, as if the wish were fulfilled. I'm living in the event in my mind as if it had already occurred, acting in that moment as my future self. And to be honest, I spend more time at my event in my mind every single year than I actually do in person. I'll be driving in my car, there'll be some song that I know I'm going to be playing at the event, and all of a sudden, boom, like I'm on stage, I see the transformation. And so it's no wonder that the event has become a reality. 4th dimensional thinkers, they've learned how to live in both the present moment and their future simultaneously on a day-to-day basis. But most people invest all of their time, all their energy, all their spirit in the problems of the day. And you know, the problems are going to come. They come for all of us. But what I've learned over time is the problems come to pass. They don't come to stay. And when you realize that, you're able to withdraw your attention from the challenges of the day and invest some time in this 4th dimensional thinking, in the future that you would like to pull into your present moment. Principle number 2, 4th dimensional thinkers see present problems simply as echoes of the past. So 4th dimensional thinkers are unconcerned about the challenges that show up in their day-to-day lives because they understand that these challenges are a byproduct of past thinking. I like what another great teacher, Abraham Hicks, says. The present moment is old news, so why would you pay that much attention to it, right? 4th dimensional thinkers understand that whatever's showing up right now is an echo of their consciousness. It is a byproduct of the thoughts they had been thinking before. And they realize that they create their own reality, and so when challenges or problems show up, rather than trying to force or manipulate the external reality to adhere to what they want, to overcome the problem, they look within first to see what is it inside of me? What is the inner attitude that I still hold on to that is creating this challenge in my life? And then they adjust their inner attitude. That's how you solve problems permanently. You work at the root cause level. And what's happening externally is a byproduct of a root cause, which is your habit of thinking and your habit of emotions. 4th dimensional thinkers identify the limiting belief that created this external circumstance, and they transform the belief because they know that real transformation comes from the inside. And so when you know that the solution is inside of you, you're able to operate unperturbed or unbothered by what shows up externally because it's like it's just a shadow on the wall. And challenges are always going to show up. They show up for all of us. But as I mentioned before, problems come to pass. They don't come to stay. And so challenges show up like waves in the ocean. And when you understand that the problem is coming to pass, you don't become entangled with it. You don't carry it with you for the rest of the day. Instead, you become curious about what is it inside of me that has created this circumstance in the first place. And as you sit in that inquiry and you discover more about yourself, you correct the misunderstanding inside of you, right? The fear of financial insecurity, the belief that there's something wrong with you, that you're not worth being heard, that you have to control the circumstances around you if you want to be safe. You correct that misunderstanding, which is the limiting belief and the assumption that you've been holding for years, and your external reality must change. You know, for years, I was bullied. And even as an adult, I was in my mid-30s, and I had a business partner who would bully me all the time, right? He'd threaten to sue me. He'd sick his accountants after me. He'd accuse me of lying. And I was stuck back then in third-dimensional thinking. And I was trying to appease him. If I can just make him happy or show him that I'm doing everything right, then he'll just go away. But actually, he was just an echo of the bullying that occurred for me when I was a little kid. I'll never forget when I was 7 years old, I was standing in front of my house with one of those little cap guns dressed up as a little cowboy. And I was like shooting the cap gun in the air, and a bunch of teenagers pulled up in a car and got out, and they started yelling at me, and it scared me really bad. That was the first time that I got bullied. Well, this business partner I had in my mid-30s was just an echo of that, right? And so finally I started thinking fourth dimensionally. And I realized my inner fear, right? This old memory of being bullied was playing out in my reality as an adult. I didn't need that to be my future. And so I started thinking beyond the bullying, beyond the problem, imagining what it would be like to free myself of this partnership. And then it was amazing. Like, I stopped returning his phone calls. I stopped trying to defend myself. And within a couple of weeks, he literally just went away. He went back to hibernate wherever he came from. And so I realized in that I could create anything. And my wife said, hey, why don't you actually get out of this partnership? And I said, well, you know, this partnership is making me a lot of money. She said, well, why don't you profitably exit it? And I was like, okay. So I started imagining leaving the relationship, but getting paid to leave the relationship, even though I didn't know how. And a couple of months later, I got a call from an old employee who this business partner actually knew and got along with really, really well, who said, hey, I'm in a transition in my life. I came upon some money. Would you be interested in selling me your part of the partnership? And I'll go into business with this guy. I profitably exited the business. So rather than carry the problem with me, I looked towards the solution until it literally came into focus and became my present reality. Principle number 3, fourth dimensional thinkers focus on the existence of what they want. What I mean by this is everybody has desires, right? You want to be healthier, you want to be richer, you want to be happier, you want to be more spiritually connected, you'd like to have more time, intimacy in your relationships. But most people focus on the absence of what they want. That's the funny thing. The moment you realize you want something, your mind, until you've conditioned it, will naturally start to pay attention to the absence of it, right? You want more time, but you don't have enough of it. You want more money, but hey, look at what little sits in my bank account. But fourth dimensional thinkers, they find evidence for what they want already existing in their current reality. So when they have a desire, even though it may not have fully manifested, right, it may not be millions in the bank, they'll look for some indication of financial security or prosperity or abundance. They want to be healthier. They may not be feeling well, but they focus and bring their attention on the health or the wellness that they do have, right? There's an old saying, where focus goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, life grows or expands. And so fourth dimensional thinkers, if you notice, they live in a baseline attitude of gratitude, right? Have you ever met those people? They just seem to be grateful about everything. The interesting thing is that whether or not they have a lot, they're still happy, which is really the end game that we're all looking for. But if you track them over time, what you see is that their life grows and expands, their prosperity, their relationships, their health, because gratitude is an expression of satisfaction with what is, right? So fourth dimensional thinkers, they know that if they bring their attention onto aspects of what they want that already exist in their present reality, they'll call forth more of what they desire. So they're grateful for the relationships they have, knowing that being grateful for the relationships calls forth even more improved relationships. They're grateful for the business they have. We all have business challenges. If you're an entrepreneur, it's inevitable. Welcome to business. But they know that if they're grateful for the business they have, then the business will grow. And it just makes sense, right? If you're resentful or angry at your life, right, you're not bringing productive attention to it. It's not going to grow and expand and work with you in harmony. So fourth dimensional thinkers don't notice the absence of what they want in their third dimensional reality because they know that their third dimensional reality is the effect. It's not the cause, right? They entangle themselves with the presence of the thing desired, no matter how small it may currently be manifesting in their life right now. Now, some people would say, but those people are just dreamers. They're hallucinating. They're pretending that they have something that they want. Well, precisely. And pretending is one of the most powerful conscious acts of creation that you can engage in. Think about the word pretend. To tend or to pay attention to in advance of. In advance of what? In advance of it coming. When you pretend to what you want and you ignore the absence of it in your reality, then reality itself has no choice but to match your outer circumstances with your inner attitude. And think about how natural this process actually is. You know, when you put a seed in soil, you pretend to the plant. You're giving attention, right? Sunlight, water, fertilizer, and nutrients to something that has not yet taken sprout. It has not emerged into the third dimensional space yet. So pretending is an essential part of manifestation of creation. But so often we're told that it's not real. And you know what? Those people are right, but they don't understand how it actually works. Hey, it's David. Quick interruption to your regularly scheduled podcast episode. I want to let you know about an opportunity to go even deeper into this work together. If you have not yet, please check out the show notes. In there, we've got links to both our Mind Hack and our Whole Human Framework programs. Our Mind Hack course is an incredible framework. It's the foundation of everything that I teach on this show to help you understand how to become deeply aware of the subconscious programs that are holding you back and to teach you the technologies and frameworks to allow you to dramatically transform those belief systems and rewire your brain. Again, the Mind Hack program is our 7-day self-paced program. We also have our 12-week course, The Whole Human Framework. And we've got both of them right now bundled in a special offer for those of you who want to go big, want to go fast, and who understand that you don't want to put off another day of your full potential or holding on to unnecessary stress, anxiety, or suffering, but you want to be liberated from these habits of thinking and have a powerful living experience. Check out the link in the show notes. Jump on over to the website. Take a look at the programs and the extraordinary success stories of entrepreneurs just like you who have gone through these courses, and I will see you on the other side. And now, back to your regularly scheduled podcast episode. Principle number 4. Fourth dimensional thinkers are responsive, not reactive. So fourth dimensional thinkers are not reactive. They're responsive. They regulate their nervous system before reacting to a situation because they understand that reality is energetic. You know, Einstein said reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. What he was speaking to was the fact that everything is energy. And you are an energy producer. Your brain, your nervous system, they produce energy. They emit vibration. It's like you're an antenna. You are radioactive. And the frequency that you put out there sculpts and shapes reality, the third dimensional space. And so fourth dimensional thinkers will regulate that vibration rather than react to their external circumstances because they realize that circumstances may trigger them, right? Old news, old memories, their current situation, but they create enough space to allow the emotion, the frequency to pass through them so they can then be intentional in their broadcast, so that they can make intelligent decisions. So in that space of non-reactivity, fourth dimensional thinkers are able to be responsive. Think about that word, right? What is responsive? It's response-able, the ability to respond, and that is what is responsible. Responsible living is spacious living. It's not reactive living. So fourth dimensional thinkers respond to situations from their perspective of knowing that their external reality is a mirror or an echo of their inner attitude. And so rather than arguing with reality, which has already occurred, they are willing to experience it. They breathe through the emotional discomfort of it. They pause long enough to create some space. And in that space, they're able to connect with their intuition, their higher self. They slow down their reaction so they can influence and transform the situation instead of reacting habitually and creating a repeated cycle over and over and over and over again of the same types of undesired experiences and patterns. So this is why stillness and space and nature are so important, especially in a world of digital speed, media triggers, and fear porn. You cannot be responsive if your nervous system is hijacked by fear or insecurity or overwhelm. Fourth dimensional thinkers have learned to feel their emotions without having to react to them, without becoming hijacked by them, right? They're able to be unshaken regardless of the appearance of chaos around them. You can take two different people experiencing the same situation. One thinks third dimensionally, that person will collapse under pressure. Another thinks fourth dimensionally, and he or she will be so grounded, so unmoved, that reality must change to match their calm. So fourth dimensional thinkers, they don't operate by force, they operate with power. Power flows through them. And if you look at people who have achieved great things, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Jesus Christ, they were powerful fourth dimensional thinkers who denied reality and acted from a calm but powerful stillness, regardless of the forces or reality that oppose them. And so when you learn to think fourth dimensionally, reality has no influence on you. Instead, you influence reality itself. Principle number 5, fourth dimensional thinkers understand that desire is evidence of possession. Now, this is a writer-downer, because fourth dimensional thinkers understand that desire is not a sign of lack or want, but desire is evidence of actually having it. So anything that fourth dimensional thinkers desire, they believe must exist as a possibility, otherwise the desire would not exist. In other words, you don't make up your desires, you're tuning into them, right? You're tuning into the presence of the thing that you want way off in the distance before it has come into focus for your five senses. You know, I like what Neville Goddard says. He says, you do not create something from nothing. Rather, what you want has already existed, and your desire for it is the first sign of it coming into focus. And so if you hold that focus long enough, meaning fourth dimensional thinking, and deny your third dimensional reality, meaning the absence of it, then the thing you desire must eventually become detectable by your five senses. It moves from the fourth dimension into your third dimensional reality. And so fourth dimensional thinkers, they understand that God has created a loving universe and that a loving higher power would never give you a desire or allow someone to tune into a desire without also giving them the resources and the means to actually materialize it. I mean, think about that for a moment. That wouldn't be a particularly loving universe or loving God, would it? So fourth dimensional thinkers understand that time is an illusion and that all possibilities exist right here, right now. And the key to materializing the possibility into your third dimensional reality is to align and calibrate your thoughts, your emotions, and your frequency with that desired outcome. To deny the absence of it in your third dimensional space and to assume the presence of it in your imagination. So fourth dimensional thinkers do not believe there's a gap between the desire and the having of the thing. The desire is an indication of having, of possession. And the longer that you hold your attention towards it, the more it will materialize into your actual having of it in your third dimensional reality. So fourth dimensional thinkers believe they already have it, and they continue living with calm but confident anticipation as the thing desired materializes. And so over time, it must. And so if you really understand what we're talking about, you'll notice something. Nothing we discussed requires you to control your external world, right? It doesn't require you to hustle or grind. It doesn't require a certain amount of money or a certain amount of time. It doesn't require a certain amount of social media followers or a certain amount of intelligence. It requires you to become conscious of the level that you're operating from. So this is available to anyone, no matter how long you've been struggling, no matter your current situation. Most people spend their lives trying to fix their circumstances. But fourth dimensional thinkers, they upgrade the dimension of thinking that produces the circumstances. And that's the shift. So when you live in your future while acting in the present, and when you treat challenges as echoes instead of threats, when you focus on presence instead of absence, when you regulate before reacting. And when you treat desire as evidence instead of lack, reality reorganizes. So if you want to go deeper into this framework, explore the resources in the show notes. In it, you'll find access to my Changed Mind book over on Amazon, my online courses, Mind Hack, and the Whole Human Framework. And if you're ready to experience this work in a more immersive way, join me at my upcoming live event, The Powerful Living Experience Live. 1,000+ impact-driven fourth dimensional thinkers who are going deep for 3 days. All the links to the resources are in the show notes. If you love the episode, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. And if you haven't yet, do me a favor and subscribe. Become a part of this community, and let's keep going deeper together. Until next time, pay attention to the level that you're thinking from, because that's the level your life is organizing around. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next episode.